Okay, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna do two movies together. I could have done just just one of for one and just got more content out of it, but I'm not gonna do that. And we've got Redwood Massacre and Redwood Massacre Annihilation. Both come from Family Video. Both are slashers. Um, it's like I think Scottish or something, or at least they are in this one, but they lose their accent in this one. So make that what you will. Basically, they're in the Redwood area. A bunch of people just walking around having a good time, and this dude shows up and starts slashing people, and the blood is just all over the place in this one. That's like the one thing you'll notice about this is the dude's killing people with an axe, and there's blood everywhere, and they use that really thick blood. They're just pouring it on, and no leads really stand out. Nobody really stands out. The killer is kind of cool. I'll give him credit for that. The killer is pretty cool. Of course, this is directed by David Ryan Keith, by the way, if anybody's keeping record at home. Says on the back, gorehounds love it, and they will. I mean, that's basically all you get is you get good gore. You get kind of a by-the-book slasher, and the ending's okay, but it can be a bit of a chore when you lead up to that ending. So keep that in mind when you watch Redwood Massacre. But I was looking forward to it because I got the sequel and I wanted to see what all started. I think these are on Tubi to be exact, but I like to own physical media. So like I said, I went and found this cheap at Family Video and I watched it and I was a little disappointed in it. Like I said, there's a lot of blood, but there's a lot of characters doing dumb stuff. And while that's normal in most slashers, it seems like in this case with this one, it just really stood out. So it is what it is. 2 out of 5 for that one. And then that brings us to Redwood Massacre Annihilation. Now this one is like I said, this is this year I think, or at least last year, and it stars Danielle Harris, who plays a sister of one of the victims of the last movie. And this one crazy guy that nobody knows is crazy is recruiting her dad and her and some other people to go to the area where this guy was killing people. And of course, they find him and he's still killing people. So the character development this time around is a lot better. Uh, but the problem is you develop the characters, but then you don't do a whole lot. There's a whole lot of people just walking around this area, figuring out what's going on. And there's more to it than just a killer in the woods this time around. I ain't gonna spoil that, but it gets a little more complicated this time around. But the thing about it is it gets dull, and that's the worst thing you can do in a slasher movie is get dull, and that's what happens here. Although Danielle Harris is great, as always, but I always feel like she's playing the same character in most of these indie movies that she's in. So things happen, things get really bloody. Not as bloody perhaps as the last one, but bloody enough nonetheless. Things come to a pretty interesting climax. Like when this thing ended, I was almost ready to, bump it up despite what happens, with the lot of walking around doing nothing in this movie. So I was ready to give it a passing grade just on the fact that Danielle Harris was so good and the gore is good. But then it does one more thing at the end, and it just erases all the goodwill this whole movie builds up. If it does build up goodwill with you, and a little bit it did build up with me, it put a bullet in it, pretty much. So this movie is an okay effort that is flawed. That has Danielle Harris doing the best she can to carry it, and then it goes and it screws it all up with the ending. This is probably one of the more disappointing, frustrating, and disheartening endings you're going to find in anything in recent memory. And I really wish Danielle Harris would quit popping up and stuff like this. Kind of on a level with See No Evil 2 with me, even though I think See No Evil 2 is probably a little bit better than this, but this is 2.5. So if you're interested in the Redwood Massacre series, which going by this will be a third, get them cheap. And that's what I did. I got these cheap. Like I said, bought a Family Video. I think I paid $2 for this, and this was like 5. So it's not that big of a loss. I love slashers, and there's good gore in these movies, and it was an okay idea of Annihilation, but it screws everything up. So let me know what you think below if you've seen them. And someone asked Danielle Harris to please be a little bit more selective with these.